All right, just got done filming the intro to this video and I kind of rambled a little bit. So just so you know what's going to be part of this video, before I even get into the whole story, there's going to be a little bit of a backstory on how I arrived at this cage. I might do a whole other live video later where I really go in depth for those of you who are interested. But for the sake of this video, I just did a really brief recap. But the main thing that you're probably watching this video for is the tips and tricks for assembling a double or triple Critter Nation cage. So that is going to be included in here. I'm going to talk about the drop pan. I'm going to talk about attaching the two cages together in a way that they're not designed to, because you have to leave the middle open between the two and attach the bottom with zip ties. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about unboxing. There's a trick with the unboxing. And there's going to be some other tips thrown in there as well. All right, enjoy. Hello. So this video, I'm going to attempt to combine a tips and tricks video with a little bit of backstory about the cage. I'm going to try to do both. We'll see if I can make it work. But basically, long story short, I had a different cage that I was going to get before I decided to do this Triple Critter Nation. I actually had one cage I was going to get, and then one cage that I was going to do with this. Yeah, let's go back in time to last year for a little story time, shall we? Okay, now we're last year at Christmas time, and my husband knew that I wanted a huge cage for my babies, and for my three sugar letters at that time, it was 3. He was so sweet, and he gave me all of his money that he'd been saving up to get a TV in our room, or a new TV in our room. We never use the one that's in there because it's not very good. Anyway, he had saved all this money, and he said, here's a good head start for your huge cage, and gave that to me for Christmas. So at that time, I was going to get the same kind of cage that Awesome Sugar Glider Mommy has. And I am a very stubborn and tenacious person, if you don't know me in real life. So I had this cage in my mind, and I thought it was going to be ideal for a lot of reasons. So I fought so hard to find this cage that I ended up contacting the manufacturer in China and having them tell me who they actually ship to in the States for the wholesaler. Contacted the wholesaler, gave them my business license because I have a different business, told them I'm not selling cages. Is it okay if I use my business license? They said, yes, that's fine. I just needed a tax ID number. They said it might be, 6 months or so because, we had to put in the order and yada, yada, yada. Well, long story short, then COVID happened. And 6 months turned into almost a year, and there was still not really any end in sight for when I was going to be getting my new cage. And I got to think, in the meantime, I came in contact with this awesome lady. I'll show you a picture of her cage. I'm going to do a partnership video with her at some point talking about how she does her cage. And I thought, I want to do one like that, or a version of that. So I didn't want to do one exactly like that. I thought I could do a modification of hers. I overestimated my abilities to do so. I didn't think through some of the things. So I ended up buying 4 double Critter Nations. It was a lot of cages. And I tried to assemble them the way that I was going to. And I'm not going to go into huge detail about that because I didn't end up doing it. So there's a reason why I didn't end up doing it. But basically what I was going to do was I was going to do 2 double Critter Nations 2 deep and not a 3rd level up. And I ran into some problems. I ended up talking to this gal. She was like, well, yeah, your problem is this because you didn't do it like I did it, basically. Not in a mean way, not at all. She was so sweet and so supportive. But basically, I didn't think through some of the complications by doing a modified version of what she was doing. So I will do a whole separate video on just her and what she did with her cage, because if you guys want to do that, it's amazing, and it's a mansion, and it's huge, and it's wonderful. And who knows, down the line, maybe I'll even do that with this one. I don't know. So far, I'm really happy with this, but you never know. I might get a wild hair a couple years down the road and decide to do that. But these clips that you're going to see are kind of a hodgepodge because when I got the cages, keep in mind, I was getting 4 because I was going to do something different than what I ended up doing. So I was getting 4 cages and I was trying to modify them to attach things at the bottom. I'll include a couple clips to show you the issues that I ran into, but in these clips, you're also going to see how to modify the bottom grate if you want to have a drop pan. And instead of having the solid black pieces that I have chosen to put in the cage, these trays at the bottom, instead of having them in the cage, you could have them under the cage with some not Happy Glider pellets. Oh boy. Feline pine pellets that they don't eat. Happy Glider pellets they do eat. Feline pine they don't eat. And it helps with the smell. So far, I've found that if I keep up on the cleaning and use 2 air purifiers in here, I don't notice a smell, so I haven't had to do that. But I can switch it back if I need to. That's the nice thing about the Critter Nations is they are very moldable and versatile. So you can change your mind a lot, which is nice for me because I've been changing my mind a lot lately. That's the clips you're gonna see. I was gonna get a cage from a different place from China. Didn't work out because I decided that I was gonna do 2 deep and do this crazy huge modified cage. That didn't work out, so I went to triple Critter Nation and I'm really happy with it. That's the long story. So I hope you enjoyed these clips. I hope you enjoyed the tips. And I'll be talking to you later. Bye-bye. I just got home. Look what I have. 4 of these suckers. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to lift them. Let's see. Oh, okay, well, I got 1 inside. 3 more to go. Can't lift it for sure. I kind of had to like shimmy it, you know, walk it and push it. All 4 boxes inside. That was thankful. I was thankful I didn't have very far to go from my entry to the room I wanted to bring them in. I just unloaded the first box, so I thought I'd give you my thoughts and tips on that in case you're getting one of these and you don't know how to unbox it, as I did not. And I just spent a lot more effort than I really needed to, and I feel kind of stupid, but you know what? I'm going to show you what I would recommend doing that I didn't do the first box and what I'm going to do with the other boxes. Okay guys, so the boxes come like this, and what you want to do is lay it on its back, so you would tip it over that way, and then just take a razor blade or X-Acto knife or whatever and cut this off here, and then just pull that lid off. Because what I did, it's kind of in has an extra box around it, and I spent a bunch of time cutting this and pulling this, not realizing that if I just cut the top all the way around and then you can just lift that off. I wasn't sure how they packed it and which way was the best way to open it. And now I have taken the pieces into their general categories and separated them around the room. I can tell you, after seeing these boxes, seeing the cage, overall I'm impressed with the quality. There's a couple spots in there that's like, ooh, I can see how that might rust after a while. So the coating of it probably isn't maybe quite as good as my first cage, but it's still good. Just something to kind of note. If I had just gotten 1 double Critter Nation, I really think that would have been bigger than the cage that they already have. So now that they will have 4, ooh, my hands are dirty. Ugh. 4 double Critter Nations. Oh my gosh, they're gonna be in heaven. Yeah. Oh, also, the cages come with these little ramp covers, and these ramps, I'm just gonna toss those because those are not really for sugar gliders. You could, I guess, well, no, you can't really use the ramps because they have this Velcro attachment thing. Anyway, I would just toss those if you're getting these for your sugar gliders. But if you're getting them for ferrets, I guess that is what they're meant for. So I thought I'd just show you kind of what I'm referring to when I say I think there's parts in here that could be more susceptible to rust. Obviously, they're not rusted, but you can see how the coating is thinner in some places. I think that's what this is. So that's that. But also, this is not good. I think I have extra doors because I ordered so many stinking things I'm gonna be putting together, so I might not have to use this one, but look, that no bueno. So I'm gonna see if I can fix that. So I'm thinking they're supposed to have these plugs that go in there, and that plug clearly came out, and so then this got kind of smushed. I'm gonna try to maybe get this back into shape. My husband might have to help me with that if we have to use this door, but anyway, that's where I'm at. I have all these pieces. I have 2 boxes open. I just opened my 3rd. Definitely cutting it open the way I showed is the way to go. It's super easy that way. Editing Kimberly here. So I realized this part is a little confusing, so I drew you a picture. Look at my wonderful picture. Okay, don't judge me, but basically there's 2 options when you are assembling a Critter Nation cage. You can either have the drop pan inside the cage, that's how it's designed, and you can have the shelf right here, or you can use the shelf to go right there and have the drop pan under the bottom grate. So what I'm going to show you is that this section right here, you have to put the wheels on the other side if you want to do it this way. So that's what I'm trying to show you how to do, is take the little stopper thing out from where it goes on the bottom, flip it upside down and put it here so that you can have then your bottom shelf. You wouldn't actually use it as a shelf, you use it as a drop tray holder. And then your bottom grate is right here. But what I chose to do in the long run was the traditional way, because I thought it would be easier to clean this tray that inserts instead of the bottom grate with the drop tray underneath. Basically, the difference is, do you want more frequent, smaller cleanings or less frequent, longer cleanings? That's really the difference. So hope that helps. Oh, also, hi, before you go back to the regular video, if you use one of my affiliate links in the description box below to buy this cage or any of the other products that I have linked, all you have to do is click on the link. It'll take you directly to Amazon, just like if somebody else shared an Amazon link with you. But this link is special because it has a code in it that tells Amazon that they have to pay me a little bit of money for sending you their way. You need to make sure you check out with the link within 24 hours after adding it to your cart in order for me to get paid. All right, back to the video. So to put the wheels on the other end of the cage and have the drop pan be able to go underneath the cage, what you're gonna have to do on these pieces here, this piece where it has the little plastic piece, you need to take this out and put it on the other side, but don't shove it all the way down because you need to be able to fit a screw, and then that's where the wheel's gonna go. So that's what I'm working on right now. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. I found it's easier if you get a tool like this. I was using the hammer and kind of prying it up, but some of them are on there so tight that I can't really do that. So you just kind of take this and wiggle it up. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it one-handed. Kind of wiggle it up. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I don't know if you could see that. Anyway, there you go. Ta-da! Oh my gosh. Have I told you lately that I love you? Oh my gosh. Look at that cage.
Have a strong hand. Hey man, that one little piece again. Oh,
you do it?
yeah.
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Yeah, so you want one more piece and then it's all assembled?
It's pretty cool. I could live in this thing.
This thing is huge. It's so awkward at the camera.
This is awkward.
I love you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the next morning. I'm gonna walk you guys through why we made the decision to do a triple stack instead of my original creative plan. Look how huge that thing looks from down here. Oh boy. This is the culprit right here. So what happens when you're having them double, side by side like this? That's fine because you can attach the middle pieces with zip ties. What's wrong with having it so basically my idea was I was going to have one right here, and then another one just like that right here and right here attached. And it's great in theory, but then when you actually start putting it together, you realize that there's a spot right here. So basically I would build another one of these and it would sit flush against here, right? So then when you have that flush against there, you then have a gap like this because you have another frame right here. This is not there because you don't have a center wall. So, and then you don't have a center wall here. So you end up having a gap like this big. So we brainstormed ways to fix that, to kind of jerry-rig that, to make that work. And about 8:30 last night, we decided, you know what? Let's just do a triple high double critter nation and just go from there for now. I'm gonna see if I can get, so this is their current cage and this is their new cage. And actually this one looks slightly bigger just because it's closer to me, but look at the difference. My husband and I both had our hearts set on having me have a complete cage on my birthday. The other thing too that I was gonna show you, this will be against the wall. This whole side will be against the wall. But I did, because we changed plans midway, I do have doors on the back and doors on the front because I have 4 double critter nation boxes, packages, instead of just the 3 that you could do to make this cage. To make this cage, you could do, you could buy 2 double critter nations and then 2 add-ons, or you could buy 3 double critter nations. So I have extra doors. So these door panels and back wall panels can be interchangeable. So I do have 2 doors back here. I'm thinking that it might make it easier for cleaning maybe, because the lower level in my experience has always gotten more dirty than the upper level. So I was thinking if I left the doors on there, then when I go to clean it, like deep clean it in the room, I can open up the doors and scrub really good on both sides without having to reach across. But I don't know. It actually might not matter. So we'll see. This is all just an experiment. And then I obviously have a lot of extra parts. And like I said, I'm not getting rid of anything because I want to keep my options open. I want to know that I have the option to go bigger or wider or whatever if I really want to. I'm just not sure exactly how I'm going to do that. Especially since I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this just like this. I want to protect the walls without buying a whole custom cover. And I'm thinking this is going to work nicely. What I did is I bought some standard shower curtains, just plastic shower curtains from Target. And these ones actually have a magnet, so it's kind of nice because it sucks close to the cage. And now what I'm done is I've lined it all up. I have 2 shower curtains here. You can see where this one is starting to overlap with the other one. You could keep them to where it's double thick, or I think what I might do is trim this one to where it just barely overhangs. So it's a full curtain and then a partial curtain that will protect this wall and this wall that the cage is going to be up against.
Is this what you're trying to tell me? Am I right? So if the sugar goes full food out of there, does it hit the wall really hard and stuff?
Well, it doesn't hit it really hard, but it sticks to the wall, and then it can stain the wall and make a big mess where you have to like scrub your wall really hard, and it's kind of a pain. So you want to protect your walls if your cage is going to be up against a wall.
Cool.
Okay, so when you're assembling a double critter nation, like 2 double critter nations side by side, or 2 triples, the only thing that's really different is this center area here where they connect, because you don't put the side panels in so that they have full access. So instead of having, you know, the walls here, it's open. So the big thing with that is to make sure that you are on level ground. We had an issue because we were assembling it where we had an area rug, and part of the cage was sitting on the area rug and part of the cage was not. And so we had a hard time getting the bolts to line up. You see that here there's 2 bolts that come in here, and you really need to get them to line up. And then what I did is I rested the other cage on the back, or on the wheel, see? So it's supporting it. And then we zip tied here, and then on the inside, let me move this out of the way. Hold on, pause. Here, and then up here, those 2 pieces we zip tied together. Up there, those 2 pieces we zip tied together, and then we do another zip tie towards the top. So that's what connects them. Oh, and then we did a zip tie up towards the top here. So basically you do a bunch of zip ties and that's what keeps the 2 cages together. So one of my deciding factors for getting the other cage was that I thought that I could easily wheel it outside and spray it down. And I'm realizing that even if I had gotten that other cage that I was planning to get, I don't know that that would really be very feasible, because when you get a cage this big, it's very heavy. And I know that cage is very heavy. I don't know that that would have really been a great plan anyway, because even if you just have 2 doubles side by side, those are pretty hard to move around. And I have carpet here, and I have, anyway, so I don't know. I'm not sure. I'll never know, because I'm not getting that cage anymore, if that would have been better. The thing that other cage had is it had a slide out bottom grate. I'm actually really happy with this system that I'm doing right now, and I might change my tune, you know, a couple months from now, but right now I'm really happy with it because I use my little Makita to just suck up all the poop and the leftover food pieces that they throw around. And then I just take, you know, a baby wipe, an unscented baby wipe, or wet paper towel, or I like the Tough and Tender wipes from Melaleuca because they're all natural and they smell good. And then I just wipe down the bars, the wheel, and a couple of the trays. And I don't wipe down all the bars in one day. I just wipe down a few. I kind of do that every other day. So I think if I stay on top of the cleaning, you won't really need as much deep cleaning, because really the only way to deep clean this cage is to completely take it apart. I at least have to take the top 3rd section off because you can't fit it through a door. And that was why I wanted the other cage originally, because I could fit it through my door. So anyway, that's the biggest tip for oh, and also, sorry, let me flip you back around. When I assembled on the inside, I did not put the extra, there's a little like spacer kind of thing right here that you're supposed to put between the cage and the screw. And I didn't do that on the inside because I knew that I wanted as small of a gap as possible. Let me show you. So you see that little spacer that comes with the cage? I did that on all the other parts, but not on the middle one, because I didn't want there to be even an extra gap. So I did not put that little spacer on the middle sections, and I only used one wheel. So you see that there should be, if you assembled it the way they're telling you to, there should be a wheel here and a wheel here. Oops, sorry. A wheel here and a wheel here, but I only have one here and then one in the back instead of 4, because there's no way you'd be able to fit the 2 cages side by side with both wheels on the front. So, and then this also acts as a little support for the other side of the cage. If you're going to assemble the cage the way that I did also, you may want to get storage bins that have a lid for underneath, because my husband and I are going to work on a modification for this, but you'll see that because there's no side wall here, there is a gap. Not a gap that's a safety thing. They can't fit through there by any means. It's the spaces are not big enough. However, there is a gap for the poop and pee to fall. So I really have to be diligent about vacuuming under and that kind of thing right now. We're gonna try to come up with a modification here because we have a bunch of these extras. So I'll keep you posted if I end up doing something with that. But for right now, I just have to make sure that I'm vacuuming and cleaning that area. So I do have these drop trays in the cage. Now, one thing that when you're assembling it, keep in mind, there are 2 grates that look almost identical. There's this one that has the 1/2-inch spacing, and then there's this shelf. This shelf is not 1/2-inch spacing. This is quite wider than the 1/2-inch. I think what happens oftentimes when you hear about gliders that escape right after they get a double crenation is that people put this one in the cage so then they can slide out. So make sure that this is the bottom rack that is a shelf, or that it holds the drop tray like I show you how to do in the video, not part of the cage. Yeah, I will in a little bit, honey. I'm just enjoying watching the gliders in their cage, honey. You exploring, mister? Oh, look at that tail. Baby boy. Toy box. Yeah, you found a baby.
Is this one said elephant?